Magic was never a myth. It was and is misunderstood science. Welcome to the science of magic.
What if I told you that fairies might not just belong in bedtime stories, but to history, belief systems, psychology, and even science? Today on the Science of Magic, we're asking a very simple question. Are fairies real? I'm Lulu from Belgium, a modern artist in everyday life, a psychic since childhood. I've always been drawn to magic, but grounded in science. Let's sparkle our way in. I'm new here, and it takes a lot of work to get the job done here on YouTube. But I had the flu. I have still, my voice is a little bit raw. But I learned a lot. I looked a lot of YouTube channels to act a little bit more natural on camera and to edit my YouTube a little bit better. And I'm getting there. Just give me a chance. The only thing that I want to do here in a world full of darkness, I want to put the real pure light. Now let's talk about fairies. They are not cute glowing creatures with wings, but real as in where did the idea come from? Why do people still believe in them? And is science actually allowed to doubt their non-existence? Now let's begin at the beginning. Where do fairies come from? Fairies appear in human culture all over the world, long before Disney. In ancient Celtic societies, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, fairies were not tinny or friendly. They were called the fae, the good people, or the hidden folk. And people were serious about them. Fairies were believed to live underground or in parallel worlds. They were interacting with humans, steal objects, livestock, sometimes even people punished, disrespected towards nature. In many village people avoid cutting certain trees, building on certain hills, or traveling at night because fairies lived there. This wasn't a fantasy. This was really a social reality. What does the word fairy actually mean even? The word fairy comes from the Old French fairy, meaning enchantment or magical realm. It describes a state of reality, a magical condition, a hidden order. Only later did fairy become and became a being. That's important because fairies were never meant to be animals. They were meant to be something between worlds. Now, who believes in fairies today? Who? Here's where things get interesting. There are still people today, right now, who genuinely believe in fairies, like me. Not symbolic, literally. In Iceland, for example, Huldenfolk, or hidden people, is taken very seriously there. So seriously that roads have been rerouted to avoid fairy rocks, construction projects have been paused after fairy disturbance. Engineers consult folklore experts before building. Really? This isn't tourism. It is really the culture, the respect mixed with lived experience. And Iceland isn't alone. Beliefs exist in Ireland, Scandinavia, parts of Japan even, and a little bit cultures worldwide. Different names, same idea. Modern movies show fairies as small, cute, sparkling, harmless. But historical fairies were human-sized or larger, dangerous, morally neutral, emotionally unpredictable, thinkless, think about, and more something you don't want to meet alone at night. This shift matters because when something becomes childish, we stop questioning it. So, is there science behind fairies? Not in a way people expect, because there is no physical evidence of winged, humanized living things in the forest. But science doesn't end there. Let's talk about uncertainty. Now, humans have explored less than 20% of the ocean. A microscope, little fraction of space. Only a thin layer of Earth's underground ecosystem. So we are constantly discovering new species, new forms of intelligence, new dimensions. So when someone says fairies don't exist, because we've never seen them? Science replies, very simple. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Some researchers suggest fairies could be culture interpretations of altered state of consciousness, hallucinations tied to environment, stress, or rituals.
Well, there was a subscriber on my YouTube who felt a little bit guilty or said, I don't want to feel guilty because I take psychedelic like DMT. I told him that I'm not against it. I'm even for it because I think everybody in his life must have one experience with DMT to experience what's around them, because it's very important to open the mind. Of course, this DMT experience has to be supervised and be surrounded by professionals. But many people who experience DMT reporting being launched straight into the universe, encountering entities, light beings, even angels-like intelligence. And it's true. In documentaries, science who studied DMT openly said the experience changed their lives forever. It's like a veil that is lifted to the so-called third eye that opens, revealing realities that exist beyond our normal perception. Not hallucinations to them, but encounters with something that was always there, just unseen. There are real scientists who took DMT and they were very skeptical, and it changed their whole life. Some even became very spiritual and changed their whole life. So it's very important to know that we only observe 3% with our brain capacity to see what's really around us, what's really there, out there in space, in the water, on the earth, even surrounding our body at this time in this space. Parallel universes are real. And there are even portals, there are wormholes around us. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. That's why my channel is here. My channel is here to educate you on a sweet way with light, but to keep it real, to mix this with science, because this is real. We only see 3% and we know it. There's a lot of more to see. So open your mind, because I'm open. And I'm here to open your mind too.
There are theories that reality might contain parallel dimensions, overlapping perceptual layers, forms of intelligence we can't detect with current tools. If that sounds wild, remember, atoms were once invisible, bacteria were once imaginary, waves, radiation, dark matter, all unseen until tools cut it up. So what are fairies really? Fairies might be a misunderstood natural phenomenon, a psychological projection, a cultural memory of something lost, or something we don't yet have a language for, or science for. Now, they might be exactly what people always said they were. Maybe they are. Something hidden, not absent. Now the final question. The real question isn't, do fairies exist? The real question is, why does every culture imagine something watching from just beyond our perception? And why do we dismiss that idea so quickly, when science himself is built on curiosity, not certainty? I also gonna show you now how much fairies and different kinds of fairies there are on Earth and in space. And remember, magic isn't a myth. It is just misunderstood science.
Time for the types of fairies, the fae. The good people umbrella them in Celtic folklore for all fairy beings, considering powerful, morally neutral, and dangerous if disrespected. Then you have the silly court fairies. They are good and nice for humans, but they are unpredictable, often active during the day or twilight. You have also a second unsilly court, darker fairies associated with danger, fear, illness, and death. Active at night, not evil but hostile to humans. Holdenfolk. Hidden people, Icelandic fairies, human-like, live in rocks and hills parallel to human society. Strong cultural respect and still exist today in Iceland. Then you have nature spirits. They are bound and tied to the elements of the earth, like water, fire, earth. Then you see pixies like Tinkerbell, They are playful fairies from English folklore, and they are leading travelers and sometimes stealing small objects. And these are the brownies household fairies that helps with chores at night. Leprechauns, solitary fairy shoemakers from Irish folklore, associated with hidden gold, tricksters, not friendly mascots. Changeling fairies. Fairies believe that they steal human babies and replace them with fairy children or enchanted objects. We have the Selkies, shape fairies, Scottish and Irish folklore, seal people who can remove their skin to become human. Then you have the nymph, Greek nature spirits associated with forests, rivers, mountains and trees, often immortal or long-lived. Dryads, tree-bound nymphs. Their life is directly connected to a specific tree. The naiads, freshwater nymphs associated with rivers, lakes and springs. And then we have the original elves, tall, powerful, and semi-divine beings in Norse mythology, later reduced to small workshops, helpers in modern culture like Santa Claus. And we all know the dwarves, earth-associated beings skilled in craftsmanship. Will-o'-the-wisps, ghostly lights believed to be fairy lanterns or spirits leading travelers through the marshlands. Fauns and satyrs, half human, half goat, nature beings associated with wilderness and instinct. Merfolk, water-based fairies beings including mermaids and mermen, present in folklore worldwide. Shadow fairies, rare, darker beings associated with fear and the unconsciousness. Court fairies. Fairies belong to the structure of the hierarchy, kingdoms and royal courts, often invisible to humans. And this is the last one for today, the light fairy. We see them often on television, and it's the modern fairy of our time now.
Please like, subscribe and hit that bell button for more videos. Thank you.